What's up, everybody? Jimmy Faluca's back with Frank. Frank, I think we did good in that first segment.
Yes, we did.
All right, now we're going to discuss one of the hotter topics of the end of this year that actually started and was broken on Thanksgiving Day, and that's the CM Punk breaking his silence after leaving the WWE the day after the Royal Rumble. There was a lot of speculation as to why Punk left, and it was discussed widely by us and our crew and wrestling fans all throughout the world, and talks of burnout, frustration, injuries, and turns out it was pretty much all of them. Why don't you elaborate on what Punk had to say, Frank?
Well, from what I got out of him, yes, he did throw out some revelations out there about his the medical conditions and his concussion, and he was wrestling with broken ribs, and he had that staph infection. What I got out of it was, I think he wanted to be the main guy, and they were never going to let him be the main guy. And I think he felt frustrated because no matter how great his matches are, how great his promos are, his works are, it didn't mean anything. And he felt, in their eyes, it doesn't mean anything. Nothing's ever going to happen. He's never going to be the main guy. And I think he just walked away. I think he knew he peaked, and there wasn't anything else left for him to do. He wanted his whole gripe is he wanted a main event WrestleMania, and I think he just said screw it. That's it. I
think a lot of things led up to him finally walking away. Everything you just said is spot fucking on. I mean, I think there was a point in time he was the hottest thing in wrestling. Listen, before we continue, I just want it to be made clear as crystal. As a person, I think Phil Brooks is a piece of shit. I met him in person. My friend Justin told me, when you meet him, he's going to be a jerk-off. You should just be prepared. And boy, was he right. Because when I met CM Punk, he didn't look like he gave a fuck that I paid $99 just to meet him.
I could see that. He comes off very pompous and arrogant.
Yes, he does.
I think he's very closed off. He's a very private guy.
And listen, I don't mind that he's private. I wouldn't blame him because you're a celebrity. You want to have some sort of privacy. And I can understand why he would not want to be bothered by people when he's out and about and doing his thing. But when you're at an autograph signing that is scheduled and people have paid to see you, they spent their money to come and just see you, you should be fucking appreciative.
Right. I'm not going to defend him. I'm not going to bury him. I just think he thinks wrestling should be all about the ring. Put out the best work, and that's it. But see, that's where I think maybe that's where he misses the point. That's why he probably can't be the main guy, because he doesn't like to do stuff like that. It seems like guys like John Cena.
Well, according to him, he did everything that they asked him to do. He did media appearances. He did charity. He did everything. And one of the unsung things that he did, he outsold John Cena in merchandise. And it didn't change his position at all, did it?
Right. But did he do these things begrudgingly, or did he go like...
I think that when he was the champion, and he was the man, holding the belt, he did everything that was human. I think, personally, that CM Punk did everything humanly possible to make that number one spot his own. And I think that he came to the realization, and I could care less who gets mad at me when I say this. Mike, I love you to death. Nick, I could give a shit less what you think. I'm just saying it like it is. CM Punk realized that no matter how much money he made them, no matter how much the fans cheered for him, no matter how great his matches were, if your name wasn't John Cena, you were not going to be the face of the company. And what that tells me, Frank, They decide who the face of the company is, not the amount of money the wrestlers make, not the amount of fans that they have, who they want. Because CM Punk outsold him in merchandise, he was outperforming him in the ring, he was out talking him on the mic. There isn't one single thing that John Cena does better on the program that CM Punk couldn't outdo. And the fact of the matter is, CM Punk was better in every conceivable way than John Cena, and it didn't make one bit of difference. I mean, let's also be honest. Let's also, before you continue, let's also recognize something else. CM Punk was having 4 or 5-star matches with guys like Daniel Bryan, and the show was being closed out with John Cena versus John Laurinaitis, or John Cena versus The Big Show in the cage. You're going to tell me that's right?
No, listen, I think everything you said is right. As far as like in the ring, on TV, he was number one. But the flip side is he number one behind the scenes? You know,
but I think that the people backstage deciding who's number one based on how they interact with him, that's a shitty way to do business. Because if the guy's making you money,
in your job,
your job when you're a wrestler is not to be liked by the people in the back. Your job as a wrestler is to make money off the fans, to be able to put on good performances, to create a character that the fans can connect with, and put a mark on the business that people will never forget. Punk did all of those things. With all due respect, I've been at my job for 6 years. A lot of my bosses don't like me because I'm on the committee, and I fight for a lot of my coworkers, keep. Because let me tell you something. I'm just going to give you an example. They didn't want us to have Christmas decorations around 2-3 years ago. And I fought with my partner and turned and said, excuse me, we've had Christmas decorations for our department every single year because you guys walk in and you want to change things up. You don't want us to have that enjoyment. Who are you to do that? Just because you're the boss doesn't automatically make you 100% in the right. So, did my managers like me for that? No. But at the end of the day, it was the right thing to do. And the morale during the holiday season in my department was up. I'm not 100% responsible for that because I wasn't the only one that fought for that, but I'm just giving an example. CM Punk is an old school guy, loves the business. I don't care what he says. I know he loves the business. But I think that it made him so fucking depressed that no matter what happened, they were going to do whatever the hell they wanted. It depressed him and he had to get out. And especially if everything he said, now I'm not saying that everything he said is gospel, because there's 3 sides to every story. One side, the other side, and the truth. I do think he did embellish a lot of things that he was saying. But if everything he said about his medical issues is true, he had every right to walk away. He should not have been wrestling with no staph infection.
Right, that's where I think his main gripe is, like, they don't want him to be the main guy, but they always ask him to work as the main guy. They always need him, but they don't treat him as the number one guy.
Absolutely. And another thing I think that pissed him off, and he mentioned it, have a match with Triple H, lose. Have a match with the Rock, both of them, lose. Match with The Undertaker, lose. Brock Lesnar, lose. All the big names that he wrestled, he got beat. John Cena, as a top guy, wrestled each of those men, with the exception of The Undertaker, and beat them all.
Right. He said that. He goes, I'm not Mark about winning or losing, but to the average, his quote was, to the average fan, that my stock is going to start dropping.
Exactly, and his stock did drop with every one of those losses. His stock went down. Now, do I think he should have beat The Undertaker? No. I don't think anyone should have beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And I will stand by that until the day I die. But, did The Rock really benefit from beating CM Punk? No. Because he ended up jobbing out to John Cena right after. Did Brock Lesnar really benefit from beating CM Punk? No. Triple H came out of retirement, beat Punk, and then went back into retirement. And he didn't wrestle again until he fought The Undertaker at WrestleMania. What was the logic in that? And then the following month they had Punk job to Truth and Miz.
Yeah.
Was that smart that you take the hottest guy in your company and you have him lose clean to Triple H?
Right. And then he mentioned about when they made him go over on all 3 Shield guys. And he kept getting mad about every 5 minutes somebody kept saying, make sure you make Roman Reigns look strong. That was stupid. He shouldn't have beat the all 3 Shield guys. The Shield was indestructible at that time. And
absolutely.
I don't know. These guys, I don't know. You don't know what these guys are thinking.
No. And another thing he touched on, and this one's for you, Mr. Constantino, because anything that is on that any news piece is all dirt sheet nonsense. But I am in his mind. But I am so happy that CM Punk brought up that the day that he walked, he called out Vince and Triple H on how Daniel Bryan was not even in their plans for WrestleMania in the main event. What was the match that was reported that Daniel Bryan was going to have at WrestleMania 30?
I have no idea. What was it?
The match that he was slated to have, this was the WrestleMania card that was leaked back in December going into January. Batista versus Orton, Undertaker and Lesnar, CM Punk versus Triple H, and Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus.
Oh, boy.
Now, CM Punk's words, and I'm going to quote him verbatim, "It boggles my mind how Daniel Bryan isn't even featured in for your plans for WrestleMania. Because just like it was my year 2 years ago, now it's his fucking year. Because I was white hot just like he is now. I am so glad that Punk brought this up, because now it lays this whole it was part of the plan bullshit to rest. You know, because there are 2 or 3 people on our page, Frank, who actually believe that it was planned from SummerSlam 2013 all the way to WrestleMania that Daniel Bryan was going to win the WWE Championship. Basically, what they're saying is that the plan was concocted at SummerSlam for him to go over at WrestleMania, and they basically just signed Batista just to have him there to job to Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, now looking back on it, I think SummerSlam was his moment. In their eyes,
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, because everything changed after that. Fans crapped him down.
I mean, are you kidding me that there were 2 or 3 guys who I respect and I like, but you people actually believed that the plan from SummerSlam on was for Bryan to go over at WrestleMania. Are you fucking kidding me? There's no way you could be that gullible. That they're like, oh, Jimmy, all you do is bash WWE. All you do is... It's amazing, this notion that this company can do no wrong. Oh, the dirt sheet strike again. Clearly Daniel Bryan's going to get his moment at WrestleMania. Bullshit.
Yeah, because if you notice, they started the Yes Movement tonight after the Royal Rumble.
Yes! And what led to Daniel Bryan getting the title ultimately, other than the fact that he was the most over motherfucker in the company, and still is, even after that 4 or 5 month layoff, the guy's still over. What does that tell you about him, Frank?
That's it. He's official.
Yeah. The only guy that was out with a neck injury, that was that over with the crowd, and still had his popularity intact when he came back, was Steve Austin.
No. Daniel Bryan now, I always kept saying he's got to stand the test of time, and he has stood the test of time.
He did.
He comes back.
Everyone was worried that when he won the belt, his popularity was going to go down. It didn't go down, it got bigger. Name another wrestler that when they won the title, the fans were chanting, "You deserve it." Never before. It just...
he definitely stood the test of time. And
to me, it just boggles my mind that there's this notion that this company can do no wrong, that these people actually believed that the plan from SummerSlam, which was August, going into April, all the way from August to April, was for him to win the belt. So basically what yous are telling me is that Batista was signed to lose in a triple threat match. Are yous that fucking stupid?
No. Vince McMahon said, he thought that was a big match.
Vince admitted it. He thought that the Orton versus Batista was a big match. What led to Bryan getting the belt was Punk walking away and Batista getting rejected the way he did. And I hate to tell you, Frank, we may get a repeat performance at this year's Rumble.
If Roman Reigns comes
If Roman Reigns is the one to win the Rumble, he's going to get shit on. And listen, I like Roman Reigns. I really like him. I think he could be something. But he ain't ready. It's clear as crystal.
Right now, the fans are starting to feel like he's getting force fed down there.
Well, because he was given the award for, even though it's all bullshit, we all get that the Slammy Awards are bullshit, but he was given the award for Superstar of the Year. What did he singularly do other than defeat Randy Orton? Nothing.
And mind you, Randy Orton carried him in that match.
Absolutely, but that's because Roman's young. He still needs... He's not a Brock Lesnar that he could be the champion within 1 year. He's not The Undertaker. He's not Kurt Angle. That kind of talent that could be the champion in less than a year. Only certain individuals can do that. And I think Roman Reigns, there is no doubt he will be the WWE champion one day, and he will deserve it. But the guy needs time. He needs time to develop his craft. Give him time. But
him being injured didn't help.
No, it didn't help. It didn't help. Because you measure the pop when he came out next to Bryan's. Is it even close?
Yeah, I'm not even talking about that.
I'm just measuring the. I'm just talking about crowd reaction. Is anyone even remotely close to Daniel Bryan right now? Other than
no,
absolutely not.
I'm talking about his he lost 2 months of experience in the ring that he needed to go.
It did hurt him, but I want to see Roman Reigns succeed, and we'll get into what he should do for WrestleMania later. But continuing with the Punk thing, I think Punk was in the right to walk away. I know there are a lot of people that like to spin it. That he walked out on the fans, he walked out on he walked out on the people that supported him. I think CM Punk recognized they weren't going to make him any bigger than what he was, and he said, "Fuck it." Because ultimately, Frank, you have to be happy with your life.
He hit the proverbial glass ceiling.
Absolutely, he hit the glass. It's like the pipe bomb he cut before The Rock and him had their match. There's a glass ceiling and no one's allowed to break through. And I think that's not right. I think if guys are able to break through the glass ceiling, they should be allowed.
Right. But again, like you said, there's many sides to the story. And
absolutely. Now we need to get into the Vince McMahon podcast, which really, that podcast was enjoyable from a fan standpoint, but it pissed a lot of the things that Vince said pissed me off. And I'll run through them real quick. Him telling me that Cesaro has no charisma, number one. Number two, in one breath, he said, well, don't piss anybody in the back off. But then in the next breath, he told Austin, oh, the guys aren't like you are, Steve. They're afraid to speak up. What?
Yeah.
You fucking old hypocrite. But the thing that pissed me off the most, Frank, and I'm so glad that this was admitted because I knew it, and I knew it, and I knew it the evening of April 6th. Vince McMahon admitted that it wasn't The Undertaker that chose Brock Lesnar. It was Vince McMahon.
Right. Yeah, well, he said, everybody's got to give back, and Undertaker, he wants to give back as much as anybody.
But even Steve Austin turned around and said, are you trying to tell me that The Undertaker served himself up on a silver platter? Because Austin wasn't buying it, and neither was I. And then Vince finally admitted, because Austin pressed him, no, I made the decision. And to me, it was one of the worst decisions that Vince ever made. Because
I think he panicked, Vince. He probably thought that maybe this could be Undertaker's last match.
But why make him lose? Vince McMahon admitted on the Monday Night Wars episode with Taker and Sting that The Undertaker was his most loyal pro wrestler. If that's the case, why wouldn't you friggin' give him the one thing that nobody else ever had, which was immortality, undefeated? Nobody else was ever undefeated at WrestleMania for that long. And nobody ever will again. There will never be another streak.
Well, listen, would Brock Lesnar be as? Would he have the aura he has now if he didn't beat the Undertaker?
Absolutely, because Brock Lesnar has a presence that can't be matched. As much as I hate Brock Lesnar as a person, because I think he's a prick, I think he should take a fucking pay cut and make more appearances because he's the champion. But he's not, because he's a selfish prick. And Heyman doesn't help, because Heyman tries to feed into that nonsense. Oh, Brock is like a special attraction, but he's the champion.
He is. You can't have...
But he's the champion. The champion should, at the very least, Frank, and I don't think it's asking much, at the very least work the Big Four. I don't need to see Brock Lesnar at fucking Battleground. I don't need to see him at Hell in a Cell. But
yeah, I agree with that.
But the Big Four...
Hogan never was on TV, and when he appeared, it was a special thing.
Yeah, but the thing is this. But the thing is this.
Main event and this and that, then it's like...
But the thing is, Frank... But the thing is, Frank... The championship is not what it was in 1986 when Hogan was only on big events. This is 2014, and this is not the UFC. This is pro wrestling. The champion has to be present when it matters, and it matters most at the Big Four. I'm not expecting Brock Lesnar to wrestle on Raw and have meaningless six-man tag matches. I'm not expecting Brock Lesnar to make appearances on every Raw. But you want to know something, Frank? Take fucking videos of Brock Lesnar out at a steakhouse with Paul Heyman with the belt. Take videos of Brock Lesnar in his house lounging around saying, "Hey, I'm the champ and I ain't doing shit. Fuck you." I mean, come on.
But you could make a promo or something.
I mean, really, even if he did,
make a promo of him working out.
You know, yes, have videos of Brock Lesnar training for his next title defense. You know, don't make him completely absent for 2-3 fucking weeks in a row.
Imagine it showing him lifting something or...
Yes, show him doing things. Show him with the belt. You have to... I just find it retarded that they didn't even bother to do that.
Yeah, dude, that's like old school. When they used to show somebody like Andre the Giant doing a feat of strength or...
Absolutely. I'm not even... Yeah. But getting back to my original point, I'm so glad that it was finally admitted that it wasn't The Undertaker who wanted to lose to Brock Lesnar. It was Vince McMahon who wanted The Undertaker to lose to Brock Lesnar. Because I had so many people come up to me and say, "Oh, The Undertaker picked Brock Lesnar in 2010 when he went to the UFC fight." No, he didn't. No, he didn't. The Undertaker did not pick Brock Lesnar. Vince McMahon made the decision for The Undertaker to lose. And what has been accomplished since then? Brock won the belt, and you barely see him. You would think, and now Brock's going to leave and go to fucking Bellator or the UFC, because WWE cannot afford what those two companies can afford. UFC's worth, I think, $32 billion. Is the WWE worth $32 billion? I don't think so.
I don't know.
So Brock Lesnar, by the time when WrestleMania is over, you're not going to see him anymore because he's going to go to UFC or Bellator, and that makes me insanely angry. And when Brock officially signs with one of those companies, you're going to see a rant like you've never seen before. Because let me tell you something. If I was a wrestler and The Undertaker lost to me at WrestleMania, I would work for the WWE until the day I die. Because nobody else would ever have what I have. I would forever have the bragging rights. I beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. I'm the one that ended the streak. Brock Lesnar was given the single greatest honor that you could be given in this business. And he don't give a shit. He's picking up and leaving. Now do you guys understand? And I'm looking into the camera as I said, now do you guys fucking understand why I was so angry that Brock Lesnar broke the streak? Not just, besides the fact that the streak ended, because it never should have, but the guy that they picked is not loyal to the business. This is the same Brock Lesnar who left WWE for NFL, same Brock Lesnar that sued that fucking company, and you give him the greatest honor that could possibly be given to any pro wrestler?
Well, I think it's not really more for Brock Lesnar. It's for more who beats Brock Lesnar.
Excuse me, Frank?
I think it's more for the guy who beats Brock Lesnar. You understand? By giving Lesnar the streak, they made him like this indestructible, unbeatable champion. So now whoever beats him is going to be that much stronger.
I understand that, but the fans will always make the comparison. Oh, even with Daniel Bryan, who you know I love, and I'd love to see him wrestle Brock Lesnar, but then people are going to try and say, "Oh, Daniel Bryan's better at WrestleMania than The Undertaker. Roman Reigns is better at WrestleMania than The Undertaker. John Cena's."
We know that's not. Nobody's ever.
But that's going to be the perception, and that's why I say it was a waste of time. It was a waste to have The Undertaker lose to Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar was. You can't take that back. Brock Lesnar killed the streak, and now Brock Lesnar's going to pick up and leave.
But whoever beats him is going to be that much more strong.
Well, that remains to be seen, Frank, and we're not going to know that until WrestleMania time.
Exactly.
But anyways, is there anything else from the Vince podcast that you want to touch on?
Yeah, I just hated the fact. I like the fact that Stone Cold was being real, and it wasn't all a big setup from WWE. He kept calling Vince out. He put Vince on the spot.
He followed up questions with more questions, which I liked. Austin's an excellent interview, and I suggest to anyone that's watching us right now, download the Steve Austin podcast. It's totally worth the space on your iPad or your iPhone, because the man is that good.
I like the fact that he was getting upset when Vince kept saying, "Oh, this is sports entertainment, it's not wrestling," and he got mad a little bit.
Because at the end of the day, it's pro wrestling.
Yeah, you remember? He's like, "When I'm in the ring, that's wrestling." That's not.
That's what it is, absolutely. But anyways, guys, that's it for this segment. But Frank and I are going to be right back, and we're going to touch on the Royal Rumble and potential inductions for the Hall of Fame and the WrestleMania 31 card. We'll be right back.